Hey guys, I'm back and let's continue exploring this scenario. So we just defeated those three trash mobs. It felt like quite a difficult battle actually. Sorry, we're at 30 health, not 88. It was quite difficult because we can manipulate this action card deck here, and we manipulate the action card deck through action card decisions. Okay, so what would happen is I'd have off to the side here all the summon 4 trash mobs, summon 4 trash mob cards. In solo mode play, we would take out a certain amount of cards from the action card deck, and if we were playing with sort of 3, 4, 5 players and you want to play the truly cooperative experience with the villain player, the bosses all being controlled by this same AI deck, you would then shuffle all those higher number of trash mob summons into the deck. Okay, so 3 is the maximum that we can actually encounter in a solo mode play. So that's why it felt a little bit tricky. Let's continue pressing on towards this boss. Let's backtrack our steps. So we're going to go back across to this tile, over to tile number 4. We take another action adventure card, and this time we summon 2 trash mobs. Let's see who we got this time. 1 lava golem, 2 firehound. No elites, thankfully. So we engage in combat one more time. 17 health and 18 health. If you guys remember the turn orders based on agility, 8 and 3. So it goes Firehound, Warlock, Warrior, Lava Golem. Okay, so Firehound up first. Dark Howl, -2 defense for 3 turns. So place a cooldown dice of 3 on there. We get -2 defense for 3 turns. Oh, sorry, let me correct myself. Because I have 2 loot items in that backpack, I have -1 agility. So that puts me at 4, meaning the warrior is actually a little bit speedier than the warlock at the moment due to all those items he's carrying. So the firehound's turns over to the warrior. The warrior's going to charge in at the firehound. Grand total of 6 points of damage. 6 from a defense of 4 takes 2. 18 down to 16 on the firehound. Over to the warlock. Token upkeep. My defense for -2 for 2 turns. Now, sorry, goes from 3 turns to 2 turns. No dice upkeep. Let's head on into our main phase. Let's have a look. Let's go with our biggest cooldown spell so we can get it ticking down. Shadow Flame, 5 damage plus 50% more if the enemy has a burning condition. So 5 damage plus my intellect. My intellect is 8. 5 plus 8, 13. 13 from 4. This guy takes 9, taking him to a grand total of 7 health points. And 13 from 5. This guy takes 8. 8 from 17, down to 9. So 9 and 7, we're on our way to victory already. And then it goes over to the Lava Golem's turn. And if you guys remember, they always cast the highest cooldown spell if it is available. If it's not available, they cast the lowest. So they're going in with the Lava Spray again. Lava Spray, cooldown of 3, and it burns all enemies whilst putting a cannot be healed condition on them as well. So I immediately take 1 damage from that burn condition, taking me down to 37. And that is the end of round 1. Round 2, no agility values changed. Everything stays the same. What have we got? Cooldown dice reduces to a value of 2, and he casts Flame Charge. No cooldown. That is a grand total of 8 damage because this one is not elite. So 8 damage, always targeting the party leader. 8 to the Warlock. My -2 is negated by my +2. So 8 from 4, I take 4. 37 down to 33. Over to the Warrior's turn. The Warrior is recharging. So the Warrior takes the cooldown dice down and passes the turn over to the Warlock. I lose 1 damage from the burn and I can't be healed. Goes down to 2 turns. Okay, dice upkeep. My dice drops down to 5 Let's take a dice. Let's cast Shadow Blast. 2 damage plus my intellect. Total of 10. 10 damage to both enemies. 10 damage from 4 takes 6. Takes this guy down to 1. And 10 damage from 5. This guy takes 5. 9 take 5. This guy down to 4. Looking good. We're getting close. This will be a little bit closer now. There's no elite mobs. And that's our turn over. Over to the Lava Golem. Lava Golem dice upkeep. 3 comes down to 2. So we can cast that Lava Spray in 2 more turns. We go Scalding Rock. That's a grand total of 6. Targeting me. Now, because of the -2, my defense is back to its standard value at 4. So the Lava Golem this time is able to penetrate me. So that's a grand total of 6. -4, I take 2, down to 30. We roll for that lightning bolt. We like that counter-attack condition. So yeah, no paralysed attached to that spell. That's the end of round 2. Begin the round 3. Firehound, he's up first. His Dark Howl will be back next turn. Flame Charge. He Flame Charges the Warlock one more time. 6 damage plus a burn. 6 from 4, I take another 2, taking me down to 28. But the burn gets reapplied, so I've taken that extra 1 for the burn, taking me down to 27. No cooldown die. Firehound is safe. Okay, over to the Warrior's turn. Warrior's charges back, and he's going to go on a mighty charge, and he's going to attack for 6 damage to the Firehound. Takes a grand total of 2 after defense. He dies. Fantastic. That's another 1 down. Loot item. And we have the Warlock's turn. So yes, sorry, -2. Can't be healed. Takes 1 damage down to 26. Dice upkeep. Shadow Flames back in 4 turns. Shadow Blast in 3 more turns. And we're going to go on in with a Soul Shatter. It's 1 damage plus my intellect. My intellect's 8. So 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 from 5 is 4. He's at a grand total of 4. He dies as well that round. 1 more loot item, please. Okay, so that's Trash Mob Battle 2. Dang, that was much easier. 2 of them, no elites. 2 loot items. What have we got here? 2 trinkets. We have an Elixir of Immortality, and we have a Lantern. Now, I can only hold or equip 1 trinket at a time. The Elixir of Immortality gives me immune to damage condition for 1 turn, but I think I would like the Lantern. So I'm going to pop the Elixir into my rucksack, and I'm going to put the Lantern, equip it, should I say, to my Warlock. And the Lantern gives me a heal over time effect for +2, which will last for 3 turns. So it's a grand total of every 6 turns, a cooldown of 6. I can heal for 6 basically, staggered in 2-2-2. Okay, after that battle, temporary conditions reset. Dice all reset, and so do health totals. Okay, now one thing you guys might have picked up on, I've just realised I've made a mistake there myself, is for each of the summons of the trash mobs, I'm supposed to be rolling that conditions dice and shuffling in one of these aggressive or defensive cards into our enemy AI deck for forming the boss deck in a moment. So I'm just going to roll that over here. We don't have that specific dice made up in a prototype yet. You'll see that we do have a few custom dice, but that's not one that I've actually got here because they're all out with our reviewers. Let's have a look. So I'll use a D6 and we'll say odds is aggressive, evens is defensive. We've found a total of 5 trash mobs, so I'll roll 5 times. Odds was aggressive. Even, so one of these will get shuffled in, defensive. Odd, an aggressive. 6, a defensive. 4, a defensive. Last roll, a 6, another defensive card. Okay, so These aren't sleeved, they're quite difficult to shuffle because these are not even real cards, these are just printed from our local printer. So I'm strategically shuffling them in. And this is now our new AI deck with 1 aggressive card and 4 defensive cards. My dice like those even rolls. And so that card should have been, oh no, I leave it on top because I'm playing with it up. Okay. Let's continue exploring. Let's go north up to this tile here. Let's stay on the outside of that lava. Over to here. Adventure deck. What's the next card we've got? Nothing to see here. Continue onwards. Okay. I think I'm ready for the boss. Let's do it. Let's explore this tile. We even have some boss artwork on the tile. There's our fire elemental. Here he is in all his glory. Let's get a little bit closer to him. Okay, and let's let combat commence. So I'm just going to make a little bit of space here because I won't have anything else in my frame. So I'm just going to pop these cards. Well, I don't need those 2 for a moment, and my adventure deck can just pop over here. We'll need the AI deck. The AI deck can go there. Let's pop those out to the side. And I now have summoned the mighty fire elemental. Let's set his health total with these D10s. He starts at a 92. However, these boards are designed for regular standard play. Now, we have easy mode, standard mode, elite mode, and hard mode. None of those are actually viable to us. So on solo mode, we're actually going to play it on 59 health. So 9 and a 5. We're also going to play it with a -1 on the defense as a modifier. So instead of having a value of 4, this guy has a grand total of 3. And on his attack, he is also reduced down by 1. Let's find the -1. There we go. Okay. One thing to note of our bosses, they are slightly different than our hero boards over here. Okay. So our bosses have phases. This boss has some abilities over here. I will read them out to you guys. We have this ability here, and it says that the fire elemental, as no surprise to you, is he's immune to the burn condition. He's also immune to the frost condition, and he's also immune to bleeding. Okay, all quite thematic. We then also have an ability here. It says pre-battle lasts for the first 2 rounds. Reflective shield. All damage dealt to you is reflected back to the enemy. And when it's referring to you, it's referring to himself, because that's the way all our hero boards are done. Okay. Agility value of 2. Our agility value over here is 5 and 4. So the warrior will go first, followed by the warlock, followed by the fire elemental. Okay, let's start things off. Warrior. Let's go straight in with that charge ability. Cooldown of 2. 5 plus 1, a grand total of 6 with a knockback condition. Now, we weren't applying this knockback condition earlier to those trash mobs because, as I mentioned, they don't get tokens because it's too fiddly to keep track of. So what we do is we just ignore them for the trash mob battles. And as you noticed with that last one there, they don't take an awful lot of time. The trash mobs are there to help us learn a little bit about our character, our hero, should I say, how some of their spells work. You can practice some combos on the trash mobs. And also they're there to help fill your equipment board to ensure that we are worthy adversaries for the the bosses in this scenario. So knockback and a grand total of 6. 6 from a defense of 3. This guy takes 3 damage, taking him down to 56. There we go. We'll get to the knockback condition in a moment and what it does. We then go over to the Warlock. The Warlock, no tokens, no dice. We now have the access to this ability here, and we had it all those trash mob battles, but you'll understand in a moment why we didn't use it. It says, I may remove as many negative tokens from any enemy that I choose in exchange for 1 health. Now this condition over here is called funnel conditions. I'll try and put a link in this post to the Warlock's hero board if you guys would like to read this in a little bit more detail. But basically, we can remove conditions, negative ones on bosses, in exchange for health. Okay, so we're not going to use that at the moment because we want our boss to be knocked back. We are going to come in, we're going to cast a spell. Let's go with our Gloom, I think. Cooldown of 3. 1 enemy gets -2 defense and strength and intellect for 3 turns. So -2, -2, and another -2. And that was strength, defense, and intellect for how many turns? 3 turns, wow. So that's nice and powerful, just how we like it. Mr. Warlock? Warlock's turn is over. So now it goes over to the fire elemental, okay? -2 drops down to 2 turns. And the knockback condition. The boss has to pay 4 health points in order to take his turn, or he has to skip his turn and discard the token. Okay, so the bosses always pay the health on the knockback conditions. So he loses 4 health, taking him down to 52, and now he may take his turn. The Fire Elemental's turn is governed by our AI deck, so we take the top card. To our surprise, it's one of those defensive cards. Let me see if I can show it to you guys there at home. This is our first AI spell. You is referring to the boss. You gain you gain protection for 2 turns. If your health is above 20, which it is, you may cast your cooldown 0 spell. If it's below 20, you may cast your lowest cooldown 0 spell. Sorry, no, my apologies. I missed there on that bottom one. You may cast your lowest cooldown support spell. Okay. So he gains protection for 2 turns. Now protection is a condition that reduces all incoming damage by 50%, which is perfect, really, for the fire boss right now, because I just reduced his defense value almost down to 0. So we were gearing up for a nice big heavy attack on our turn. But thankfully he's got protection now for 2 turns, and it goes into this column here for 2 turns. And the spell he casts, because he has more than 20 health, he's at 52, they cast their cooldown 0 spell. Their cooldown 0 spell is here, it's called Blaze. Okay, Blaze targets 1 enemy. Remember, it's always going to target me because I have the backpack token, because I am the party leader. 4 damage plus his strength. He's got a lot of deductions here. So his strength right now is actually only 2, plus the 4. That's a grand total of 6. 6 coming over to the Warlock is not enough to penetrate through his defense because of that gloom that I cast on him earlier, I believe. So 6, I can defend all that away, no damage. However, we have a rolling conditions die of 2 rolls for the burn condition. The burn condition is on this white dice, so let's give it a roll. Bleed, 1 more roll. Poison, so no burn added there. No damage taken. I'm happy with that. Sorry, one thing I did miss. At the beginning of the boss's turn, the boss has a static ability here. And this ability states that we take 2 damage at the beginning of his turn. So all enemies. So we take 2. down to 36, and 2 down to 38. And my sincere apologies, guys. Oh, another thing I missed, and this is clearly from dashing out to take my daughter to work. That's my excuse anyway. Is I forgot that the boss here has that pre-battle effect, that reflective shield, so he deals 100% of damage back to us. So when I attacked with that warrior, he hit for a total of 6 plus knockback, although technically it doesn't actually make any difference at all, because the 6 damage hits him back, but he can defend the 6 because his defense is 6. He doesn't actually take any damage, but I thought I would just point that out. Okay. So yeah, the boss main phase is finished, and then we start the round all over again. So next round, round 2. Over to the warrior. The warrior's charge. He's recharging. Comes down to 1, and his turn is over. Over to the warlock. The warlock has no temporary buffs, but he does have a dice. So our gloom in our dice upkeep comes down to 2. And now we're able to cast a spell. I think that reflective shield is quite scary, so I'm going to stay with support spells for one more turn before we unleash the power of the shadow arts. And we're going to cast demonic armor. I get a +2 HP regen condition for 3 turns. Where are you? +3, +1, +3. Oh, come on, don't do this to me when I'm live. There we go. There's the +2 health. So I gain 2 health, go up to 38. And just a note, we can never go above our maximum health. Okay. So 38 is the highest I can actually get to. So the warlock, his turn is, it places a counter-attack condition on ourselves as well for 3 turns. Now the counter-attack condition, you guys will see, will actually work against this boss because it places tokens on them. So the warlock's turn is over. It goes over to the boss. The boss has the token upkeep. All these tokens move down a column. Dice upkeep. No dice because that was our cooldown 0 spell. But the reflective shield is now gone. The AI deck, let's take the next card. It's a passive spell. I'll quickly show you guys here. So I'm trying to read it on a funny angle. The boss's health is 52. So we're in this top bracket here. And it says, you gain +1 defense and agility for 2 turns. And as you can see, these buffs get bigger and better the lower health our boss is actually at. So the boss gains +1 defense and +1 agility for 2 turns. +1, +1. We've got defense for 2 turns and agility. Putting up to agility of 3, that still puts him in last place. Boss's turn, he also deals with his heat wave ability, 2 damage to all his enemies. So the warrior goes down to 36 and the warlock back to 36 as well. And that is the end of his turn, so that's the end of round 2. So then we start round 3. Round 3, warrior is up. His charge is back. He's going to jump in and cast charge. It's going to hit the fire elemental for a grand total of 6 damage with a cooldown of 2. 6 damage. Oh, what have we got here? Defense. 4 minus 1, 3. Minus 2 down to 1 plus 1, 2. So 6 minus 2. He takes a grand total of 4, taking the boss to 48 health points, but also placing that nasty knockback condition on him, which will force him to take 4 more health at the beginning of his upkeep, during his token upkeep. Okay, thank you, Mr. Warrior, for helping us out. Over to the Warlock. Token upkeep, I gain another 2 health, taking me back up to 38 from that HP regen from my demonic armor. What have we got here? Dice upkeep. 1, 2. I'm going to cast... What have we got? We still got protection for 1 more turn. That's quite frustrating. I think... Let's Oh no, there's no point in corrupting him because he's actually immune to bleed and burn. The only one I could get on him is poison. So I think instead then, we're going to Scourge him. So a grand total of 2 damage, plus my intellect, which is 8. So hitting him for 10, and it also plays a poison condition on him. 10 damage, his defense we worked out earlier is 2. 10 from 2, he takes 8, plus he takes 1 from the poison, total of 9. 48 minus 9, he's now down to 39. We're slowly getting there. Warlock's turn is over. The dice has been put on Scourge to remind me I can't cast it for 3 more turns. And then it goes over to the Elemental's turn. He loses those conditions from Gloom. These go down 1. He loses 1 from the poison, so he goes to 38. His protection is now gone. And he has to pay 4 health to get back up from that knockback condition, so he's now down to 34 health points. At the beginning of his turn, this Heat Wave ability triggers, dealing 2 undefendable damage to all his enemies. So the Warlock back to 36 health. The Warrior down to 34. What spell have we got? We have here a passive spell that deals, it's a ranged attack, it deals 4 damage plus his intellect. So his intellect is currently 5, 4 plus 5, a grand total of 9 damage to all enemies. Okay, so 9 damage, I'll start with the Warlock. 9 from 6, he takes 3, down to 33. 9 from 6 on the Warrior, takes him down 3 as well, taking him to 31 health points. Okay, end of the Fire Elemental's turn. Okay. Next turn in the turn order, beginning of round 4, the Warrior's turn. The Warrior is recharging his charge back down to 1. He'll be able to go off again next turn. Over to the Warlock's turn, he gains 2 health from the HP regen. Oh, my apologies. We have the counter-attack condition, so when that boss actually attacked us, we would automatically hit him back with our cooldown 0 spell. Our cooldown 0 spell, Corruption, you might remember it from our board that Lily, my daughter, was showing you earlier. Corruption will place a burn, bleed and poison condition on the enemy. Now, unfortunately, our Fire Elemental boss, for thematic reasons, is actually immune to burn. Surprise, surprise, considering he's made of fire. He's also immune to bleed because I can't see this guy bleeding, can you? So the only one we can put on him is poison. Now, poison is one of many conditions in the game that cannot stack, so I can't put another poison condition on here. But what we do is we do remove the poison and reapply it for 3 turns. When it's reapplied, he takes yet another 1 damage, taking him down to 33 health points. Okay, so yeah, that I believe is, sorry, I was moving in the process of moving my counter-attack condition down. Now I go to my dice upkeep, my Gloom comes back, my Demonic Armour back in 1 turn, and my Scourge is back in 2 more turns. I think, yeah, let's go for it. It is this spell here called Demonic Ritual. Says that you can only cast this after round 3. And if you guys remember, we're at the beginning of round 4 now. I can transform into my demon form, gaining 50% more health. I cannot transform back. Now we will take the dice off these 2 spells because you will see now, as I transform into my demon form, here is my new board. I will place this over the artwork carefully, and it replaces those 6 spells, which is why I've taken those cooldown dice away. It doesn't replace anything else, we're still at the same level. Just these 6 spells, it changes all our stats here, but it also changes our health points. If you remember, it's 50% more. We were at 33. 50% of that is 16.5. It's always rounded up, so we'll say 17. 17 for 33 pops us to 50 health points. We also now have a new ability. instead of that funnel conditions, we have something called Demon Outburst. Again, I'll try and pop an image in this post to these boards so you guys can have another quick look at home. But if I just try for a moment to pop it up against my phone for you here, sorry, there's a bit of reflective light. We have an ability here called Demon Outburst, which deals 1 damage to us at the beginning of our turn, but 2 damage to all enemies. It's very similar actually to the static ability of our Fire Elemental, and we've got 6 new really cool spells here. Demonic Offering, Immortality, Demonic Ritual, Betrayal, Cruel Tactics, and Shadow Strike. For any of our backers during the Kickstarter campaign, you'll actually find that we did a deep dive, is our first hero we did a deep dive into on I think update number 2 or 3. So if you are able to check that out on our Kickstarter page, by all means please do, and you'll be able to learn an awful lot about our Warlock if you like reading. So that was my Warlock's turn over. He's turned himself into a demon. He's up to 50 health. And then we're over to the Fire Elemental. The Fire Elemental, he loses his +1 buffs. He takes 1 damage from his poison. He's down to 32. Okay, his static ability deals 2 damage to us. We can't prevent it. So he's down to 48, the big powerful demon. But he's slowly chipping away at this warrior. He's now at 29. Okay, what have we got in store for us? We have a passive spell. Your attack misses. Sorry, remember these are always referring to the boss. Your attack misses and leaves you feeling the brunt of it. You lose 4 health points. Fantastic. That now takes the boss to 28 health. Okay, that now activates the boss's second phase here. Okay, so on this board it says less than 60 health, but remember that's not a solo mode modification. That is actually for playing with 3 attacking heroes. Standard mode. Easy mode is 2 attacking heroes. Hard mode is 4 and elite is 5. These are the recommendations, of course. You can play on whatever mode that you choose, but for our demonstration we're sticking to the solo mode modifications today. So at 30 health or lower, our boss kicks in this second round, and it's called Burn Baby Burn. Your heat wave ability, which is that one that's dealing 2 damage to us every turn, now increases to 4 damage per turn, but the modification for that for solo mode is 3. So now this ability here is going to hit us for 3 damage every single turn instead of the 2 it'd been hitting us for. Okay, so that's the end of that round. We now start at the beginning of round 5. Okay, so we're over to the warrior. I believe he's got the fastest agility. I've got 3, the boss has 2, so the turn order still stays the same. The warrior's charge ability is back, and he is going to charge. Grand total of 6 damage plus knockback. 6 from 3, he takes 3 damage, knocking him down to 25. And we place that knockback condition on him one more time. Okay. Then we're over to the demon. His HP regen is gone. The counterattack condition is gone. Let's take a die, let's cast a spell. Let's go with Shadow Strike. I think this is our biggest spell. It's quite juicy. 1 damage plus our strength plus our intellect. Our intellect right now, it's changed, remember. So we used to be 8 intellect. We're now actually at 6, 5 plus the 1. So we're at 6 intellect, but our strength is 7. That's 13 damage plus the 1. Grand total of 14 damage. Our fire boss, our fire elemental, should I say, has only got a defense of 3. 14 from 3. Grand total of 11. This now takes him down to 16 health. Now, when he gets below 25 health, he activates this spell here called Fiery Grave. The modification for solo mode, this gets activated at 20 health, so he's below 20 now. And this has a cooldown die on it for 3. And I'll read what Fiery Grave says. You place a cooldown die with a value of 3 on this ability. When the die is removed, all enemies suffer 50, and I repeat that, 50 unpreventable damage hence the name Fiery Grave. So he will be sending his enemies to a fiery grave if he is not finished off in the next 3 turns. Okay, however, it now is the Fire Elemental's turn, so the timing on that spell was not ideal. His turn, token upkeep, goes down, loses 1 to 15. Knocked back, he has to get back up, so he has to lose another 4. Unlike in the odds of this, taking him down to 11. Okay. This Fiery Grave will destroy us in 2 turns. We now go to his main phase. Let's take one of these cards. I was just checking the time. This passive spell says you cast your highest cooldown attack spell that has no cooldown dice. So the Fire Elemental is now going to cast his highest attack spell, which is Inferno over here. Cooldown of 5. It deals 6 damage plus a cannot be healed condition for 2 turns. 6 damage. The attack modifier is his intellect. His intellect is 5. 6 plus 5, total of 11. 11 damage targeting our demon. His defense is 5. 11 from 5 takes us a grand total of 6. 6 from 48, 42. Okay. Inferno has a cooldown of 5, so that gets placed on the boss. But there's also a couple of condition rolls here. So these condition rolls, we're looking for burn and stun. Now stun, I believe, is on the black dice and burn is on the white dice. We roll twice for burn, so lacerate and cannot be targeted. And now we're looking for stun on the black die. And it does look like a stun, but unfortunately that's darkness. The stun is to the side of it there. So no conditions are added to that spell. Okay, I've taken the health points. Fantastic, yep, and then the boss's turn is almost over, but then we have to remember this Heatwave ability, which is now, Burn Baby Burn is activated, so it's an extra 1. So we both take 3 damage. So the warrior goes down to 26 health points, and the demon goes down to 39. Okay, beginning of the next round, the warrior, his charge is back. He's going to charge in because we have 2 more turns to kill this guy, otherwise we die. 6 damage plus knockback, cooldown of 2. Let's go. 6 damage, his defense is 5. Apologies, no, it's 3. 6 from 3, he takes 3, taking him down to 8, but places that nasty knockback condition on him. We then go over to the demon. Demon actually has no tokens at the moment. We then go to dice upkeep. 4 goes down to 3. Okay, can we kill him now? 8 damage, his defense is 3. 8 plus the defense of 3 is 11. If I can hit him for more than 11, we can kill him this turn. Let's have a look what we got. I don't think we can, no, but we'll be close. Let's cast Betrayal. Betrayal deals 2 damage plus my strength. Strength is 7, damage is 2. 2 plus 7, 9. 9 damage minus the 3 defense takes him down 6, takes him to 2. But Betrayal also places a paralyzed condition on him, so he cannot cast an attack spell next turn. 2 turns he's paralyzed, and it also places he can't be healed for 2 turns either. Okay. Then it goes over to his turn, and lo and behold, would you know, he can't be healed. The paralyzed would go to 1 turn, the poison would disappear, but the knockback would kill him. Get him back up. He's used all his energy. He's got no energy left. That was a valiant battle, Mr. Fire Elemental, but unfortunately the power of demon form was just too much for you in this scenario. Until next time, where's my loot? The loot we get for defeating a boss is equal to the number of attacking heroes. So we have 2 because there's only myself, and my ally. So 2 loot items. What have we got? Let's have a look. And the boss is now defeated. We have an Oak Guardian Mace. It's a heavy item, so we can't use it. And we also have a Dragon Helm. It's for all users, light and heavy armor, and it also increases our fire damage, which is perfect because we actually do use fire damage on the Warlock, so that's a great find. I'm going to equip that now on my head slot, and I'm going to put that Oak Guardian mace into the rucksack that, sorry, I've just popped off screen here. Okay, when we defeat a boss, we also level up. So our hero moves across to level 2. When we level up, I can take another power cube and take a new spell or new ability. Now, I've started following this decimation path here, so I'm actually going to unlock a new spell called Death Coil. And Death Coil deals 0 damage plus my intellect. And remember, the intellect of the Warlock, sorry, I'll reset my board now, is 7. So 0 damage plus my intellect, so it's 7. On a pierce, and pierce means that the enemy does not reduce their defense, so it'll always deal its true damage, it'll deal 7 damage. And I gain health equal to the damage dealt. So that's a new fantastic spell that I've just unlocked there. Let's get out of demon form, back to 38 health. Let's pop my demon form over to the side, my dice over here, the trash mob cards, let's pop them back here. The AI deck will have a quick shuffle. My backpack token here. Let's bring back the adventure deck that I just moved to the side to make sure that it was in frame. We've defeated this boss, and now what we'll do is clear this away, and then we'll rebuild phase 2, and it's very much looks the same. It's just another hex wider, I believe. So we've got more options to explore, get more loot, get some more action cards, and continue evolving our hero. So at the moment we're on level 2. When we hit level 3, we'll also gain a stat when we level up as well, further increasing the viability of our hero, and hopefully we'll find some allies as well as we continue on to join us on this adventure. At the moment we've just got the warrior. And I'm sorry guys, that's all I have time for today. It's been a little over an hour, I believe. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed a quick playthrough, a quick understanding and an idea of how the scenario runs in solo mode, how the AI deck works, shuffling in the aggressive and the defensive cards as this grows over time, and how the boss's spells, the sort of the smart AI is determined by health levels. There's a few other cards in here that is actually determined by you, the solo player. I was looking for it. Trust me, it'll be right at the back. And there's one here that you can see. And it asks you, if you're above 50 health, to cast an attack spell that will hurt the heroes the most in your current situation. If you're below 50 health, you might cast a support spell that may benefit you the most in your current situation. Okay, so that's the AI deck. It's been wonderful having you guys. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Have a wonderful week. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Tomorrow we're going to be recording sort of a 3-4 player scenario using the villain, and I might get around to using the AI deck for a true co-op experience as well. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. It's Friday here in the UK. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye-bye.